G'day Bulldogs family, welcome to the Keys to Victory for our round 3 match against the Parramatta Eels, our arch rivals, and filled with former previous Bulldogs in this match. So we'll look at the quick head-to-head stats and then get into the team lists and have a look at how I think things are going to pan out on Sunday. There is a chance of rain. Does the rain bring teams together? It usually does. We have a mixed sort of, who can forget that ambush that we gave the Roosters in terrible conditions at Accor Stadium, I think round 4 or 5 last year. It was a massive, massive win for us to defeat the Roosters. We held on. We should have won by a lot more. Will the Eels be better in the wet? They've still got a pretty big pack, if you ask me, with Junior Paulo, a pretty big guy, and lots of other big forwards in that side. We've lost one of our beasts, obviously, in Viliami Kikau, and they say it's the return of the Fox this week, which I do believe will happen. Head-to-head, these two sides, Eels have won 28 out of the 53 to our 24. We've won drawn. It was 1-1 last year with the Bulldogs getting the chocolates in the King's birthday match in front of a huge crowd, and that right edge exploited the hell out of the left edge of the Eels. And that is one thing that, the left defensive edge of the Eels, that's one thing that they've been really poor at in the first 2 rounds, conceding over 88 points. They've conceded 88 points in 2 matches. We've conceded 44, so they've conceded double the amount we have. So look, they're averaging 12 points and conceding 44. We're averaging 34 and conceding 22. So it's a massive difference, but it's only 2 matches. But I think the tale of the tape is that the Eels are lacking a lot of confidence, even though they've got a lot of speed, a lot of talent, and a lot of size in that and skill in that side. A side that can offload, a side that can make good meters through the middle and can get on the outside of teams if need be, and has the skill and experience to do lots in this competition if they were to get their act together. Definitely don't downplay their potential, but right now they are far from their potential in what they've shown in the first 2 games. Although in saying that, there were some tries that they should have scored and nearly scored, where the final pass went down, or were building things nicely to have just an innocuous sort of drop that shouldn't have happened. Their tackle efficiency, obviously losing the possession battle, they're starting to concede more tackles, which is what happens. Their completion rate's actually higher than the Dogs, which just shows you how hard our boys work. And the fact that our boys do throw some ball and ask questions, and sometimes it's to our detriment, where we've been a little bit impatient, and it's then cost us points later on. We've started with 2 good wins against the Titans and Dragons. Both sides could contend for the 8, but look like they're going to struggle to make the 8. Whereas, the Eels have played the Storm, who are definitely top 2 this year, in my opinion, and many others. And the West Tigers, who have got a lot more players in their side, and had a lot of, it was a pretty tight game, tight contest. But West, once they got that try and then got another one, then the one before half-time, the Eels were just a spent force after that. Let's look at the team lists. Some very important changes coming into this side. Obviously, Bailey Hayward's been named at 5'8" for the Bulldogs. Will he start there? Will he play there? There's 2 trains of thought. Is that there's a chance Stephen Crichton, they've had a contingency plan for Crichton to go to number 6. I think long term there is going to be a push for Crichton to go to fullback or number 6 whenever there's the opportunity or the need arises, because he's going to be worth so much money on the open market. He's one of the most prized signatures, I think, moving forward for any club. And the Dogs will be looking to sign him up and keep him before he even goes on contract, I would believe. Having done such a great job to start his career with the Bulldogs. Now, you can't have too many $1 million players running around in the centres, so there may be a need for him to develop in a spine position. Does that journey start this week? I don't think it will, and I'll explain why in a minute. I think Bailey Hayward will start at 6 and either play the majority of the game there. There is the chance that Joey O'Neill, who is named as basically our 18th man, but it's the 19th man for the Bulldogs, he's the only player in New South Wales Cup who's not named in New South Wales Cup. So Jack Todd, Blake Taff, Luke Smith and Jonathan Sewer are all named in New South Wales Cup, as is Curtis Moran, which could be just ducks and drakes. It could be. But Joey O'Neill, there is a potential for him to make his debut on the bench or start. I don't believe they will have him start. And the reason I say that, there's a reason why oppositions have been attacking our right edge, even though Stephen Crichton's there and he gets into the heads of his opposition centres for the most part. Most of them sort of acknowledge that he is the best defensive centre in the game, and I don't mind people saying that, even if the stats might prove them wrong. The fact of the matter is they've attacked our right edge more because you got Sexton there, who's only missed 3 tackles in those first 2 matches, which is good, and made about 48. They've definitely ran at Sexton a lot, and he's worked hard and done a really fantastic job early on. Something that wouldn't have happened last year to start the season, which is why he was in reserve grade, and now he's here as a NRL first grade number 7, with a bit more experience under his belt, 50 games, and he can make the tackles. On that right edge with him is Stephen Crichton, Jacob Preston and Blake Wilson. Wilson's missed a few tackles, but that's what happens with wingers when they're constantly attacking your side. You're going to come in, you're going to be put under pressure, and that's what happens. So looking at those players, defensively, they're going to go down that right edge a lot. But I think if we keep Crichton in the centres on that right edge, it just gives us a little bit more stability. And I think that's why they'll do it, because I do believe that Zach Lomax and Jordan Samrani, if Samrani stays in that side, will be the ones in company with Jack Williams and Dean Hawkins going at our left edge. I really believe that. You'll see Dylan Brown float across and play both sides, I believe. And they will be attacking Bailey Hayward, Marcelo Montoya, Bronson Cherry and Satili Tupanua. Now, while Tupanua rips in and is a bit of a defensive beast himself, he's not the 116-kilogram terror that runs full pelt from the kick chase to smash the winger or the fullback. He's not the guy who pushes so hard from the inside at full pelt to the outside that forces opposition attacks to sort of give up. You know, him and Burton combined have really developed a strong combination out there. They can swap positions in the line if they have to. They come in and out. They do sometimes Kikau go in a bit to chase some work, because literally they do avoid that left edge now. Teams will go there and will exploit it at different times. And there's a couple of teams that do that more often than others. But I think the Eels are going to go there because Kikau and Burton aren't there. They're going to attack Bailey Hayward and try and isolate him. Jack Williams, very fast, good footwork, and very explosive off the mark as well. So I think Tupanua, Hayward, Bronson Cherry and Marcelo Montoya are going to cop some attention, and whilst I'll back them to stop most of it, I do think they'll concede some points down our left edge from the right edge of the Eels. Now, on their left edge, I'm expecting that the Fox will debut. He's not named in New South Wales Cup. I don't believe he's injured. So having that suspension that's now finished, he is going to add something to that Parramatta Eels side. And a player like Will Penasini, who can offload, who's got really good footwork, who's strong, can set it up for the Fox immensely. Some great footwork from their fullback, Isaiah Iongi. and the fact that Dylan Brown is out there naturally on that left edge, and the way that he can straighten the attack up, if they get some good field possession, get some repeat sets, get us under pump through the middle, which they've struggled to do because they've been pretty slow with their play the balls, the Eels, in the first 2 rounds compared to us especially. If they get some of that quick play happening and get the ball through the hands, our right edge defence could be under pressure again. But I'm pretty sure Critter and the like will be fired up to have the Fox coming at them in this match. So look, the keys to victory, obviously we're going to see the 2 sets of halves. They are both not at their optimum ideal. Dean Hawkins, who's had about 14 first grade matches, coming in as a player for when Cody Walker's injured or the halfback's out or whatever. He's always sort of been the reserve grade player that's come through when they've had no one else sort of thing. But they expected big things from Hawkins, but he hasn't sort of gone on with it. He's someone we'll be looking to ruffle his feathers. And he'll be expecting that. He won't care about that too much. Bailey Hayward and Sexton, I think I have no issues with Toby taking over the kicking and really taking his game to that level that we need it to be at, because I felt he did really well when Burton went off last week. A couple of long kicks. Well, one was definitely long and one was actually should have been, a dropout, but I can't believe it anyway. He needs to make sure he's got the kick accuracy happening. His short kicking game's generally on point, which it usually always is. It's a threat for us to score points. It's a good way of getting repeat sets. And his options of kick, pass and run, I think, have been really good this season. Only kicked in round 2. He didn't kick the ball in round 1. We didn't need him to. Burton just kept putting it in the left-hand corner and smashing Matthew Feagai. But look, the Eels have some talent there. They have some really good offloading ability, good passing ability and lots of skill in their back line and also in their forward pack. From Hopgood to Lane and Paulo, you've got a real strong offload ability. And Joe Ofahengawe can offload as well, no doubt about that. Our forward pack, led by Max King, has been phenomenal. I think Daniel Saluka Fafita will start and Josh Curran will revert back to the bench. Having lost to Tupanua off the bench, I think that enables us to, just have that player that's going to play long minutes from the bench in Josh Curran. And Saluka Fafita will be there to try and assert dominance early on those big Parramatta boys. And Max King, in my opinion, has been in the top 3 or 4 props in the game this season to start in a huge list of talent that you can name. He's been one of the best, and his stats back it up. And let's look at his stats while we're there, Max King. Averaging he's got 152.2 post-contact meetings from an average of 14.5 hit-ups, 3 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, tackling a little bit under at 93%, but I feel his line speed's better. I feel he might be a kilo or 2 weighing. Yeah, I think he was 106 kilos last year. He's weighed in officially at 105 this year, which is not small. And averaging 160 run metres per match and 53.5 fantasy points. Now, if we line that up with the rest of his career, it's just a massive lift. You can just see, since he's come to the Dogs, obviously playing a lot more minutes at the Dogs, but 102, 107, 119 and now 160. The development of a first grade front rower is there right before your own eyes. 118 matches. And looking at his average for the Bulldogs, he's just bringing that up and up and up all the time. And fantasy points, 53.5. But look, Stats for running meters for players like for front rowers and that sort of thing are always a reflection of the way the game's played. It all comes down to our aggression in defence, the meters that we're reducing the opposition from getting, the ruck control, and the fact that they've had probably two sets of halves that have had to kick from deep within their own territory, or kicking from behind the 50-metre line, to a point where our fullbacks and our wingers have been making some really good yardage out of contact, bringing us up the field, and that brings the front rowers and the forwards into the meters game, because our yardage is for our back line to do, and the way it's worked has been Connor, it's been Blake, it's been Bronson and Marcello. Critter's kept fresh, and when he'll bring in a run when he needs to give the boys a rest. But, and there'll be games where he'll do a lot more work, and just depending on the feel of the game and where it's played. But it's also a thing where oppositions don't want us getting it to that right edge as often as we do, even though they know we have threats everywhere on our left. Josh Curran will work his ass off. Satilli on the edge, probably he'll be out there to do his defensive work. Preston, you get the same from him every match, just an 8 out of 10. An absolute phenomenal beast on their right edge. And Jamin Salmon has been our top 4 or 5 players both matches to start the season. And I'm pretty sure Parra will be, won't be trying to let him dummy his way to the line to get us off and running. Been very happy with all the Bulldogs players, to be honest, from Kurt Mann, Harry Hayes and Curtis Moran. Will not let us down one iota if he gets his opportunity. So, look, I believe Joey O'Neill will be either on the reserves bench at the expense of either Curtis Moran or Daniel Saluka-Fifita. It'll be one of those two. I think it might be Moran, considering he's named on the edge for New South Wales Cup. But I think Joey O'Neill will either be 18th man or 19th man, and and everything else will remain the same, because they'll want to keep as much as they can for stability. Stability is the key to making those important tackles on the edge when they're required, and that's only going to improve with the more connection that they have. Losing those two important players on one side of the field does pose a huge opportunity for our opposition side. It might mean that they don't try and test our right edge as much, which has been under the pump the first couple of rounds. And that's going to be good. With the game coming up against the Sharks, we probably do need for that left edge to be put under the test and to have some questions asked of it. And I think that Eels are definitely going to run that way more often than not if they can. So for the Eels, what we've got to watch out for their offloads. Obviously, their size. If we go out there and we're not the same aggressive side we've been in the first 2 rounds, we'll get our pants pulled down. The aggression is the key to victory. It has been the common denominator across all the big wins. The teams that can go harder for longer have been getting the chocolates, and I think the Dogs will be getting the chocolates again with their commitment and aggression in defence. Will force this Eel side into not believing, not trusting the process, that the new process that they have. And I believe if that is the case, we could run up a score on them. There is an opportunity, if it is wet, that the Eels will stay a bit closer. If that's the way, if we are playing at a level which we've become accustomed to, that we're proud of with the Bulldogs, with that aggressive defence, with that hard work ethic, we've doing the simple stuff right, and then nailing our opportunities when teams get under pressure. If we do that, I expect us to have quite a good victory. On a wet day, though, it can bring the teams closer together. Will our side, with the slightly smaller pack, benefit from that? We've still got a lot of flexibility there. And, Kurt Mann in the 80-kilo range plays like he's 100, hits like he's 100. Harry Hayes has put on a couple of kilos. He's gone up from about 99 up to about 102, 103 kilograms. and done quite a good job. Daniel Saluka for feeder, he's lost a tiny bit of weight, but still huge. I think at about 112 kilograms, and Curtis Moran, I think, it's only about 95 or something. So Josh Curran about 102. Satili Tupanau has been 101 kilos every year. Jacob Preston, 100 kilo player. Pretty light on our forward pack, as they say, but they definitely have completely outplayed the forward packs that they've come across in St George and the Titans to start the season. And, I will say our fans, commentators made the same mistake last year, week in, week out, and obviously opposition teams, because it looked like both the Dragons and the Titans didn't expect our Bulldogs to be as tough and as hungry and as aggressive as they were. And both of those sides struggled to contain our boys. And that's a really good sign. And hopefully we can just continue to build confidence and be able to look at our pack and to look at our bench and just say, this is a ripper bench every week. This is a ripper pack, and they're going to rip in and they're going to win the contest. But some much bigger games to come with the ultimate test next week to see how good our boys are going in that. But we've got to beat the Eels first. So we'll know a lot more come the New South Wales Cup match as to the way this team's going to line up. Could line up as is. Could be a few changes, which is obvious. But, will Stephen Crichton start in the 6? Will they bring Luke Smith into the centres? Or Jonathan Sewell potentially, who's played there a little bit, just to give some players a crack, some youngsters a debut? Or are they going to try and keep that stability, keep it as simple as possible, and have themselves as prepared as they can for Para, knowing that they've got to do this for the next few weeks? I think it'll be the latter. I feel they're going to go with that more stable side, the team that they expect to pick for the next few weeks, whilst Burton is rehabilitating that knee before Kikau also joins the side. I probably expect Kikau to be back for the South Sydney match after the bye. I reckon that's when we'll see Viliami. I think we'll see Birdo maybe for the match before the bye against the Newcastle Knights. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment, everybody. That's the preview. That's the keys to victory. We have to continue that really aggressive defence, put pressure on their back three as we've been doing, and ensure that those halves are under a lot of pressure throughout the match. That will set us up really well. The key to all of it is the way we defend and how we restrict meters of our opposition. I expect they will try and play some ball, try and do some running on the fifth tackle and stuff like that in order to sort of break us down a bit and put some indecision in our minds to try and give, so that when they do kick, that, they're in better position and it's harder for our back three to make yards. And not having Burton there to kick us out of trouble. Toby will do his best, and he's got quite a long kicking game on him, but he isn't Matty Burton when it comes to that. So, any team works out how to negate us from stopping them from making meters, enabling them to sort of kick where they want to kick and put the ball where they want to put it. That's where we start to see how much we miss Matty Burton and Viliami and the like. So, lots to happen, lots to be done before we get there on Sunday. It could be the side that's named, could be a few changes. Serrado knows all. I think he probably knew Tuesday, probably knew on Monday what he was going to do, and that's exactly what they're preparing for come Sunday. I doubt that anybody, if Joey O'Neill is playing, I'm sure he knows about it, and so does his family. So if he does make his debut, I hope he has the best debut of all time, because this little fella has been waiting in the wings. It's been developing nicely, and I cannot wait to see him perform and play. Only weighs 81 kilos, and he's 175 centimetres, so about 5'9". So there you go, Barella Bears Jr. That's the preview. This game to be won the same way as we've won the first two. aggressive forwards, really, strong execution with the ball, and just winning the contact, winning the play, the ball, all the simple stuff. That's what the Dogs have been doing. Hopefully, we'll have a better completion rate, and not letting as many tries as we have in the first 2 rounds. That would be very impressive if we can improve on that, whilst maintaining that scoring ability that we've seen. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. It's Bulldogs versus Eels, 3:05 p.m. Make sure you watch the New South Wales Cup if you can. I'm not sure if that is actually... I'm not sure if that game is on KO or not, but we will see. Let's have a look at it. 12:30 at CommBank. I think it's Bar TV, which shows all these games. But there's a quick little run through. Taff, Sewer, Gabrielle, Smith, Reddy Karma, Drew Hutchison, Cassius Tia, Jack Underhill, Otakolo, Lipoi Hotboy, Curtis Moran named there, as I said. Grossamy, Todd named there. Ruben Moyle, Tomamone, Zion Mau, and AK Jones. So there you go. 12:30. Get down to CommBank. Watch the New South Wales Cup. And then get down there and we'll stay there and watch the NRL, obviously. Anyway, I've talked too much. Good luck to the Bulldogs. Good luck to all the fans who go out. Let us know if you're there and you're on all things Bulldogs. Go on the Facebook page, share some photos wherever you are, and that's about it. Go the Dogs.